think I'm ready to join the neck to the box, but I don't know what I was thinking when I added struts into the box. I put them on both sides, and I forgot that I'm not doing a through neck. So if I was doing a through neck, I would put them on both sides and just cut the notch out. But I'm wanting the neck to terminate inside the box all the way up against the back. So I really only needed to notch the front, and then it would have been easier to get the neck in and then cut some little pieces to go on both sides of the neck to help keep it centered. So now I got to cut out all this middle section here and try to make room for the end of the neck. Let me go ahead and take care of that. But I think I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because I had to step back and think about it. I remembered that I cut the neck wider than the fretboard. So I can't cut a notch the width of this because it'll be too big. So I need to decide where to cut my fretboard off, and I may need to go ahead and just attach it and be done with it. Then I can put the frets on later. Looks like I can keep all 24 frets on there, and I can just end the fretboard up here somewhere. So let me go ahead and cut that off and then attach the fretboard to the neck. So it'll look about like that. Now, I had to do some more thinking and some more backing up. I'm kind of doing this on the fly, so I'm having to consider future steps. I don't want to glue the neck directly to the fretboard at this section, because like I said, I want this part of the fretboard to be hanging over the lid. So that means there needs to be a gap between the neck and the fretboard of about the thickness of the top. So I need to go ahead and nibble away the thickness of the top all the way back and just get that done. And that way, then I can glue the fretboard down and that gap will be there so that whenever I slide the neck in, this will slide right up over the top of the cigar box, if that all makes sense. So what I did was I turned it over, or what I'm going to do, I guess. I hadn't done it yet. I'm gonna push that all the way up against the back there and clamp it down. So now I'm gonna flip it over. I need to nibble from that line back the thickness of this top. I've got this sled that I made sometime back to make kumiko. I'm just going to use it. I'm just going to nibble away a little bit at a time on the neck, by making a pass, moving it, making a pass, moving it, making a pass until I get all the way to the end. And then I can check it against the top. But I'm going to make a test cut on the end first and check it. Once I'm satisfied, then I'll come back over here and start right there. So here's what we have. You can see the thickness of the top cut out all the way to the end. So what I have here is my fingerboard. And you can see that it doesn't go flat up against the neck. Because like I said, I want this little fingerboard extension to go over the top of the cigar box guitar. So let me pull the box over here and kind of show you what I'm talking about. See that? Just kind of slides right over the top. But there's a couple more things I got to do. As it is now, this surface will sit right up against the bottom or the underside of the top. But I want the top to be able to resonate or vibrate a little bit. So I don't want this touching the underside of the cigar box guitar. I need to create a little bit of room, maybe like a 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to cut down even farther. You see, I figured out where my fretboard ended here and I drew a line. So maybe from here all the way down to here, I'm going to trim off even farther, maybe about a 1/16 of an inch, like I said, and that'll give the top the ability to vibrate. And then there's something called a back angle that Puckett talks about. And there's another channel I found called Southern Fried Guitars, and he talks about it as well. It's going to make the neck tilt back a little bit like this when it's installed inside the box. But I need to trim a little bit off the top of here at the end as well to make room for that. So I am going to trim this down to the line, which I drew right there, which is about 1/8 of an inch. And that's going to make my back angle. And then after that, I'll trim a 1/16 of an inch past that all the way up to right here. Kind of confusing. A lot of talking going on right now, but just go watch some Puckett videos and some Southern Fried Guitar videos and you'll hear them talk about it as well. This came out looking really stupid. See it? I misjudged the height of the blade because I was pushing down a little bit and I didn't realize it, so I got a couple of gashes out here and there, but you know what? It's going to be on the inside of the box and the top of the lid will only be resting here and here. The rest of this will vibrate, okay? Anyway, I'm going to clean that up with some rasps or a shinto or a shinto, like Puckett refers to it. Anyway, I'm going to take care of that and then I'll catch up with you. I'll take the box and put the neck on it. You can kind of see, I don't know, maybe you can't because of the light. All right, so now you can see the part of the lid that's going to be touching in the long trough that I cut. That will not be touching the lid, and that'll allow the top to vibrate a little bit. So anyway, it's ugly, but it'll do. All right, now it's time to go ahead and just get this fretboard on there. So what I've done is I marked center here, and I marked center there. I got center here, center there. I'm just going to line it up the best that I can and just clamp it on. I was going to do some locating pins, but I thought I'm going to just give it a go, see how it turns out. I'm going to wait till it starts to tack up a tad bit before I load it up with clamps. That'll do. Overkill 2.0. So next day, get the clamps off, take a look at it. Looks okay, I guess, but somehow the nut location, I lost it a little bit. I guess it does look like there's a little mark there, but it's not the correct mark. It might be from where I kind of filed a little bit. Some of the metal came off of the file. Maybe I thought that was the nut line, but I'm a little past the nut line, so instead of having a 5mm thick nut, I'm having about a 3mm thick nut. I'm guessing that'll be okay. I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know. Guess we'll find out, right? But it's on there. So now I need to get the edge of the neck material down to the edge of the fretboard so that I can line this up with the box, get it notched out. Just keep doing that on both sides until I'm even with the fretboard. And what I did for the end is I kind of laid a straight edge along the fretboard and marked back here so that I can get this heel part, or the inside part that's going to be inside the cigar box, to be about right about the same thickness as the fretboard too. So anyway, I'll catch back up with you when I get done. Alright, I've got a mess on the ground too, but I've got the neck to the same width as the fretboard. It is evened up all the way to the end. So let me show you what I got going over here. As you can see, I've made some marks on some blue tape. I've taken as precise measurements as I can, and I measured to the center, and then I measured the width of the neck and did half of that to both sides of that center mark, and then I measured the depth of the neck and measured it out. So I've got to cut this square out here, and I'm going to try to stay within the lines and try not to mess up. I'm sure there'll be some fiddling with the fit after that, but let me go ahead and get it cut out first, and then we'll work on fitting it. I think I'm going to cut straight down with this saw first, and then figure out how to get it along the bottom, which I have a coping saw. I can use that if I need to, maybe. But let me go ahead and cut straight down inside the line, and make sure my saw is straight up and down. And I hate to tell you, but it's stinking hard to see because of the light.
Daddy, can I have a pre-line?
Yep.
Yeah. I'll go have a shoe.
That's the first line. Let me go ahead and... Good grief, I cannot see. I believe I'm inside the line. Got those cut. There we go. Still got a ways to go. Got the notch cut in the top of the box, and check it out. I'll show you what I did. I clamped a square onto the top of the box and then to the side of the neck, and check it out down here. It's a good thing I did that because the center line of the neck does not match up with the center line of the bottom of the box. So you can see the dot there does not match the center line of the neck, which is kind of weird to me because my center line was good and the center line there was good. My only guess is that there's something that was off somewhere, but as long as the neck is square with the body, I think I'm happy. I think that's how it's supposed to be. Now I've got to draw lines here on both sides of this and notch out a pocket for this to sit so that I can push all the way up to touching this side of the box. Yeah, it would have been much easier had I not put this piece in.
Daddy, look how cute this shirt is.
It's so cute. Where'd you get that from?
Um,
Is that a deer?
Yep.
I love it.
No, it's a Christmas deer.
It's so cute. So yeah, it would have been easier to have not put this in. I mean, if I was doing a through neck, like I said, then yeah, this would be good to go in when I put it in. But not doing a through neck, it would have been easier just to clamp the square on the top like I did and just cut some of these pieces to match. Just fill in. So now I've got to cut this waste out of here somehow. What I did was I took my saw and I had it on end and I just cut as far down as I could go at an angle. And I didn't record that. I just kind of did it off camera because I was trying to figure out what I was going to do anyway. So now I'm just going to use my chisel to nibble down and get as much of this out as I can. It may take me a while, but it's got to be done. Catch up with you when I get done. I have got both of these notches cut, and you'll see I've got some veneer sticking out of the side here because even though I checked center or square of the neck and made marks, having to cut with a chisel, I still ended it off a little bit, so had to trim a little bit off of this side, which made a gap over here. So good thing I kept this real thin veneer that came from inside the box. I was able to clip off like 3 pieces of it and wedge it on this side, and that pulled the neck back square with the body, which is good. So I've just got to maybe super glue in these veneers to this side of the box. But I've got it all the way down here. I've got it all the way down here. The only thing that I did not account for was the thickness of this side. So whenever I started relieving underneath where the fretboard extension goes, it goes all the way to the outside, that gap. So it should have stopped at the inside. So I will have to trim off 5 millimeters off the end and just bump the neck down all the way so that it'll push up all the way onto this lid. If I don't, then with the lid closed, I can kind of see that gap, that black spot in there where it's not quite seated all the way against the lid. Because when I measured for it, I forgot to take out the width of this. So I'll just trim this 5 millimeters here, or maybe even less, just enough to get past that little black spot. And that'll just move the saddle down just, just a smidge on the top. But it fits in there pretty good. It's working out. Check this out. I cut 5 millimeters off the back. And actually I think it's going to work out a little better. Watch, let me go ahead and put this thing in. There we go. That thing is super tight, like a glove. This thing ain't going nowhere. Check it out. Man, I'm actually glad I did it, like I said, because if I measure from a scale length is going to be right here where my finger is. So you can see I've got plenty of room. I think it's actually a little better, but you can see how I got the fretboard going over the top. Slides right over. But that means in order to get inside the box, I do have to take the neck off. So that's the only thing. Let me show you how to take the neck off, because this is in there like super tight. Pull. There we go. Now it's time to add the frets. Got a couple of tools here. Got a fret end nipper. Got a fretting hammer. Of course, I've got the frets. These are medium nickel silver. This wood is probably pretty soft. I'm not going to worry about filing the fret slots to allow the tane to go in a little easier. I think it's going to go in just fine. I know because I've seen Dale Puckett do enough fret jobs himself, and he has no issues hammering these in. One thing I will do a little bit different, just a tad different, just because it's kind of a belt and suspenders kind of thing for me, I guess, is to put just a couple of drops of super glue down in the fret slot, just to make sure it stays in. Look at there. Look at it. Just look at it. Is it gonna stay? Maybe my fretting hammer is too wide of a curve. I wouldn't have thought so. I guess I'll just hope that the super glue holds it in. But, you know, I can pull this one off by hand. Look at that. I'll go ahead and fill this thing up with some more glue. Just for extra good measure. I'm guessing I've got to have a thicker saw maybe than the one that CB Giddy sells. It must be. Let me go ahead and get going on these and then I'll show you what it looks like when I get done. I figured I'd come back for the last one just to show you. This is overhanging, so I'm scared if I hit right there, I could possibly break that. So I've got a couple pieces of old guitar sides from my 4th guitar build. I'll put that under there, and then I've got this little thin piece of wood. Slide that under. And that should protect that. So let me go ahead and get the last one in. That's the last one. You can see they're all in. I think I determined that my saw is okay because if I measure, say right there, I get 0.45 millimeters. If I measure right at the teeth, old man alert, I get 0.55, 0.56. So I think it's thin enough. I may be mistaken, but I think my saw is good. It's just, I think it more has to do with the fact that this wood is really soft. I mean, I was almost able to push them all the way in just by hand. My faith is in the super glue to keep them in all the time. Maybe I'll lose a few here and there. But there's some that I guess I hit them hard enough to where it kind of pushed the fret into the wood a little bit more than the others. So I know my frets are completely uneven. So I don't know. It may be that this is just too soft to use as a fretboard for me. You know, I mean, obviously it works. Dell has made a crap ton of CBGs without any issues. I'm talking about Dell Puckett, the inspiration for this whole build. All right, Puckett Cigar Box Guitars on YouTube, so look him up. I'll put a link to his channel in the description. And I got the idea to do this from his channel, which I still think it looks pretty cool. But, you know, I may stick to a harder wood instead of a softer wood for the fretboard going forward. But it was still cool to say that I did it this way, and I still think it looks pretty neat. So I've already trimmed up the edges of the frets all the way up against the fretboard. I need to file the frets down flush with the fretboard and then even angle over a little bit and angle them. So I'm going to take care of that, okay? I took a file and first of all I planed down this piece of wood, this piece of poplar, made sure it was perfectly straight, and then I epoxied the file to the end. So I'm going to use this to go through and make sure all the fret ends are right down to the fretboard. Yeah, you know, while I'm doing this, I can feel some of the frets vibrating on this side, which means they're moving a little bit. Well, that's not good. You know what I may do? I may, before I finish this, I may run some super thin super glue down the ends of these frets, just to make sure, you know, that they're all the way down. They're going to stay in there. That'll make me feel better. So let me take care of that, and then I'll come back and file this. Well, it's looking like a cigar box guitar now, right? It's in there, got the frets done. I don't know if you can see them from back there, but not really a whole lot left to take care of woodworking wise. I've got to shape the neck, drill the tuner holes, and I think that's it. And then I can do, you know, the fret job. I'll probably have to level them because they're pretty much really bad not level because some of them are sunk a little bit farther down. And then I got to work out the electronics, which I'm really nervous about. I don't know why, because I have no idea what I'm doing. I got a couple of things I need for soldering, and I do have to attach a piezo and an input jack, which shouldn't be that horribly difficult. But anyway, I am a little bit nervous about it. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I'm going to just do my best, I guess. I'll have to follow the directions and just try to figure it out. Between this video and the next, I'll go ahead and get started on the shaping of the neck. You know, once we get the electronics on, do some fret work, string it up, and I should be able to give it a go, right, and play it. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm really excited about it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.